reading another spooky story. This one looks a little spookier, so let's make it dark. Now, let's see. The Worcester Token, Port Union. In 2014, I got an intriguing email from Channel Fisher, who was then a 17-year-old ghost story. Enthusiast from Pennsylvania, Fisher had spent the past summer working at the Harrod shop in Bonswa. I'm sorry, there's something I can't pronounce correctly, so sorry. Let's just say Bonsoir for the story, because I can't pronounce it. And had been reading one of my previous books on Newfoundland ghost stories, Haunted Waters. I noticed you have many of my stories about St. John's, and I would like to see some similar towns stories in your book. She wrote, "My family has always loved sharing ghost stories and have shared some with me." Fisher then went on to a retell of one of her favorite family stories. One she had learned from her grandfather. The story is one of the most common type of stories I hear from Newfoundland. A token story. A token is where someone has some sort of supernatural warning or promotion that someone close to them is about to die or just has died. In many cases, these stories are quite touching and show the strong emotional ties between relatives. For the most part, these are not evil or angry ghosts, just people who want a chance to say farewell. Rarely, they are dramatic, as what happened to Fisher's grandfather. Ooh. This is an older story, because the tale was told in 1838. In English. Illustration by Tony Johnnet. 1838. My pop's name was Wesley Wisher, Fisher told me. He's the one who told me the story. The story took place in the early 1900s in Port Union. It involved my Fisher's great-grandfather, Erzo Wilster. My pop passed away several years ago now, says Fisher, but my great-grandfather's token still remains in my mind. My great-grandfather had a very sick brother who lived with them and slept in their spare bedroom downstairs. He had one pneumonia and was he had pneumonia or something along the lines of that, and was too sick to even get out of bed. One night, my great-grandfather checked on his brother and gave him some water before he went to bed. Fisher's grandfather told her, "Father said that his brother was the same way as always and didn't think he'd last much longer." Later that night, Fisher's grandfather and his wife were upstairs in bed asleep. The husband woke up to the sound of his bedroom door slamming, and he looked up to see his brother standing on the foot of the bed. "Brother," said the man, "what are you doing here?" At this, the brother took hold of the foot of the bed and started shaking the frame with such force to the occupants were almost flung from it. Father didn't know what to think. Fisher's grandfather told her he knew his brother was too sick to climb the stairs, let alone take a hold of the bed, and almost flipped them over. When Erza Wiltshire looked again, his brother had vanished. He looked over at his wife, who had slept undisturbed by the commotion, a fact which confused him further. He jumped from the bed and ran downstairs to his brother's room. Described Fisher. When opened the door, the glass of water was tipped over and his brother was dead. In his bed, still warm, the man knew that his brother had been trying to tell them he was dying. Covered in his brother's face and braver than I would be, he went back upstairs for the night. Wow. That was one roller coaster. Let's put the lights back on. Shall we? So, how'd you guys like the story? The 7-minute story. Yeah, how'd you guys like it? Personally, I loved it. I'm gonna be reading some more soon. Have a good day and stay safe. And stay away from any ghost, would ya? I don't think he needs any more right now. So just stay safe. Bye-bye.